driving, coming down from the bank just now, and I asked myself a question: why they erect so many cameras to capture traffic and to place ticket on people? I have no problem with these things, but when you analyze it, the 100,000 that they give you, check how much ticket you will get to repay this government. You almost calculate it in your mind. So when they give it in you one way, they take it in the other way. You must understand the 100,000 that government give to you. It's just a handout. It can't do not much. It is just to fool your mind. But I will encourage everybody, take it, because it's not the P.P.P money. Right. It is our money. Right. Yes. But coming back to the point, my friends, how can you have peace in this country when you have so many injustice upon people in this country? How can you have peace? Peace, my dear friends, it's a word that I believe in. It's a word like people like Mandela believe in, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King. But the P.P.P does not understand what peace means in this country. You know, coming through Sophia and Albay song which day, people have many things to say about these communities and Agricola. But I want to tell the public, we don't condemn, we don't condone looting, and we don't go and encourage people of looting and burning down place and all these things. We don't do those things. It is the same P.P.P who put people to do those things and place the blame on peaceful protesters in this country. Jack Dale don't think people know his statics. People well aware. I saw on the social media you had comrades who stand beside Jack Dale, was in the protest, lighting tires and lighting the road. It was there on the social media. And when they're done, they blame innocent Afro-Guyanese people. Look at the injustice again. When we want to talk about justice and injustice, the Indian guy in Bobby's, I think, he was granted bail for terrorism, while the Georgetown Magistrate Court remanded all the African Guyanese to prison. Why those things should be in this country? That is discrimination to the highest extent, and this government expect us to have peace in this country. My comrades, we believe in peaceful protests. And with peaceful protests, we call for justice to be served on the families that lost their loved ones. You know what the next thing this government is doing? Is to cover up and offering a 25 million, a 50 million to just for you shut your mouth.
Tell it.
Right?
Tell it.
Let me tell you something. Money can't buy a life. Money can't buy an 11-year-old. Money can't buy the two gentlemen that get shot in the tongue of Linden. It will last for a period of time. But let me tell you, we must move away from this mentality of collecting money.
Right.
We must move away, because if we don't move away, your generation and the little ones that you're bringing up will suffer the consequence in the future to come.
Yes.
If you don't understand. Right? And the P.P.P government is bound by those boundaries to give people money to just shut up. Let us not sell our justice like that in this country. We'll set a dangerous precedent. So I am saying to you, let us have peaceful protests in this country.
Yes.
Let us call on the justice
Yes.
right? Which I believe is compromise. You have one of them lunatic for minister want carry me to court and sue me because I make some allegation. Well, I want to tell you, I will meet in parliament, out of parliament, on the pavement, and anyway, I'm ready for you, and I'm ready to challenge you at any time. Right? This is one Kuli man who will fight for the people of this country. Not like them who pull their pocket and open so much of logistic firm. Right. And so many businesses them have undercover in this country, while the poor people in this country is suffering for a resting place to put them head. Comrades, this is not violence. We are not telling you to go and burn anything down in this country. We are not telling you to go and loot and destroy the people's business. We are not for that here. We want justice, and we must not be silenced by this government. We must be allowed our democratic right to walk the pave and walk the road for justice in this country. Comrades, I want to thank you very much. I wish to go on more, but I don't have that big voice. So you will hear from me. You will see me on the ground. But let us hold hands as Guyanese, not as Afro, not as Indian, not as indigenous, as Guyanese. Let us hold hands. Y'all don't know, think. Sit down and analyze what this government is doing to you, the people. While they got 10 bodyguards, who you got? You got the Almighty. Yeah, right. You have to depend on God. Right? While their children got bodyguard at their school, you won't have to walk the street to go to school. If something happened to them, you're telling me, you're offering me money to just shut up and telling me to compromise the system? No, we must not allow that as a people, as a nation. We must stand up. We must take example from people like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and Mandela. We must walk this walk. We must not only talk it. We must fight for justice. We must be able to stand up for justice. And we want it not today, not tomorrow. We want it now. Right now. Now we want it. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Pandit. The right is justice. As was said, peace does not exist in a vacuum. And let me quote Martin Luther King, who said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Whenever anyone, any individual is treated unjust, peace is compromised. Whenever we sit by and see anyone being treated unfairly and unjust and do nothing about it, we are contributing to the injustice, and we are also compromising the peace. And it made reference to the killings. Police shoot here, police shoot there, police complicit in murder. That is violence against the people.
Yes, it is.
I have read in the scripture where it says, violence begat violence. When the state visits violence on its people, it comes a time when the people respond. We do not want that.
Right.
And therefore, what we are demanding is a just society where everyone, irrespective of race, class, creed, geographical location, religious belief, are treated fairly and justly. And until such time, we as a people must stand up and fight against any regime, as we will fight against this one, to ensure that justice prevails. Sister Charlene, may I invite you?
Okay, I have to try out my big voice. You hearing it? All right, I come to you probably as a stranger because you don't know me, and I come to you wearing my UG t-shirt. So I'm really speaking with your permission because of the recent new move to make education publicly funded. Now, what does that mean? They're using the word education is free, but nothing is free.
That's good.
Where they're getting the money to pay us now is from you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It is taxpayers' money that is now paying us, which means that you are employing us. So you have to watch us good with all your eyes, right? And in the tradition that I learn about, we have two eyes, but we also have what we call the third eye, the eye that sees inside your soul, your spirit of freedom, which all the brothers speaking before me have spoken about. It is out of your quest for freedom that we get justice, right? Because I'm an academic, I come from UG. Whenever we have a meeting, we always have an action plan at the end of the meeting. I would not like to know that you are going home this afternoon without an action plan. Now, what I mean? That don't mean you got to follow Gina, you got to follow Norris, you got to follow Lincoln, you know, to follow nobody. You got to organize in your communities.
Yes.
And that is where power comes from.
Yes.
You got to organize in your homes. You have to admit what is strong about your home, what is weak about your home, and know that if you keep that third eye open, because I really should have started this presentation by saying greetings to you all protocols observed, but I also want to include in my greetings the people that come from Haiti,
Yes.
from Cuba, from Venezuela, and from other parts of the Caribbean and even further. Because we come from people who always made what we had enough for everybody. We have never come from people that only some get everything and the rest scrubbing, not crazy and wonder what the boss man gonna do today with my salary. We don't come from those kinds of people. And why we are in confusion today is because we have forgotten how we come from. So as a teacher, I'm an old school teacher, and Rascafra can tell you I'm really old, because you know I've been there long. So the message today, short message because my voice is going already, is let us all go home with an action plan to find our freedom, and so to organize in our communities. In many ways, you're better off than the people in the towns. I know that many of you are from the country because you can trace back people that been there long. In town, we got a little confusion. Sometimes you don't know who you're living next to.
Right.
So hold the village life sacred. Hold the country life sacred so that you could teach us back what we in town have forgotten and maybe losing. You understand? I see a hand. Yes, sir.
So, everybody with it. Madam, in all due respect, what we have, this government have, we everybody, a family people, can't, they're like me.
What do we have to do to jump against people? What they're doing to third world countries?
Right. Well, that is why you have to have the action plan, because the answers cannot come out in a meeting like this, not even with the microphone. And you're right, he's hit the nail on the head. We are not each other's enemies.
Right.
Is not everything the P.P.P doing wrong, and it's not everything the A.P.N.U do right.
All right, thanks.
You understand me? Conversation, action plan, and I'm going to end now because
What is John Parkins? People like John Parkins do to third world countries?
give thanks. I think I've said it.
Yeah, I know John Parkins.
Brother Rastafra, your turn.
People get name right. I have a pause to comment. Mommy, I like to have a pause to comment. What is John Parkins? What is Donald Trump doing? What is the cars over driving crazy?
All right. My brother.
Yes, greetings to everyone, brothers and sisters. Today I feel honored to share this space with this very courageous gathering that have decided to come here today to stand in solidarity with the call for peace. However, this rally is titled the Peace Rally, but we are not here today to ask for peace. We are here to demand the elements and the ingredients that make for a peaceful society, and previous speakers would have alluded to those things. We are here to demand freedom from fear of state violence,
Right.
freedom from state oppression, and freedom from state insecurity. Guyanese are living in a society of fear. Fear of state violence that over the years has manifested itself in many forms. Some would say as a religious cult many years ago, Death Squad, Phantom Squad, and now in this time, a private security firm in charge and in control of the corrupt Guyana police force. We all remember the period in Guyanese history between 2002 and 2006, which claimed the lives of hundreds and hundreds of Guyanese, including the brutal assassination of a minister of agriculture, Mr. Satyadi Osa. Why has there never been an inquiry into his death or into the entire period? All those families are still to receive justice and by extension, peace. The Honorable Martin Luther King said it best, and I quote, he said, true peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice, not a drizzle of justice for one or two families. We need it like the kind described in Amos 5:29, that will flow down like a mighty stream for all the families that I've mentioned earlier, and for the families in more recent times, such as Adriana Younge, Sadiq Juman, for the family of Kian Fugeni, for the family of Harris Singh and the Henry boys, for all those families that have lost loved ones at the hands of a rogue and violent state apparatus that has been terrorizing and killing Guyanese for decades. Moreover, Guyanese are living in a society of severe economic oppression. Just recently, I read a 2024 online article by Mr. Steve Lala for the Orinoco Tribune. It's titled, Guyanese are becoming poorer despite living in the world's fastest growing economy. Allow me to share just about 2 or 3 quotes from that article. The first one, it says, despite its newfound wealth, Guyana has not succeeded in improving the lives of its impoverished population. Although reliable estimates of poverty levels have not been reported since 2019, when 48% of the population, that's almost half, was assessed as living in poverty. The World Bank stated recently that Guyana's poverty rate was among the highest in the Latin American Caribbean region. Second quote, Guyana's immigration rate is among the highest in the world. More than 55% of its citizens reside abroad, according to the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency fact book of 2024. As a result of the country's poverty and constant immigration, Guyana is one of the largest recipients of remittances relative to GDP globally. More than 80% of Guyanese nationals with tertiary level education have emigrated. Brain drain and concentration of limited medical resources in Georgetown hamper Guyana's ability to meet the health needs of its predominantly rural population. This is our reality. We cannot deny it. So when we have some citizens like Mr. Mohammed who come and try to help the situation, they're met with resistance and even oppression. Right? In addition to this, Guyanese are living in a society of severe insecurity, where there's a deliberate lack of robust framework in the form of laws, policies, and programs to protect us from the many threats to our lives. Why are so many Guyanese dying on our roads daily? Why are so many women being allowed to die at the hands of their partners? Why are our children not being protected from abuse and harm? The state is failing to protect us in the same way that it failed to protect Ms. Adriana Younge. The question is, are we going to allow the state to continue to oppress us and kill us? Those of us who have gathered here have said by our presence resoundingly no. His Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie once said that with courage, faith, and a just cause, even in the 20th century, and I would add in the 21st century, David will still defeat Goliath. We have identified our Goliath. We possess a just cause. All we need now is to find the faith and muster the courage, and victory will be ours. I thank you.
Don't tell me to give it 2 times. I don't care about that. I can talk to anyone of them. I lie down either. I lie down either. We're in the chat. It's 6 to 2, you know. Really, people. What, you know,
Good day to everyone. Good day to everyone. Could we have a moment of silence? I thank you. Thank you. I would like you to say it along with me. Children's rights are human rights. Let's go. Children's rights are human rights. Again. Children's rights are human rights. Let's go again. Children's rights are human rights. Guyana, as a state, have signed and ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And because we have signed and ratified this document, Guyana answers to a United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child Committee. So the state cannot say it can abdicate its responsibility as it relates to children's rights as human rights. In the Adriana Younge's case, lest we be silent about what has happened, the state have violated her right to life.
Yes.
What has the state done? Let me hear you. The state has violated her right to life. Every one of us who is here are guaranteed the right to life under the Constitution of Guyana, our supreme law. And because the state agency, which is the Guyana Police Force, tasked with the responsibility of protecting all of our rights, but more so the most vulnerable, our children. If they fail to do their duties, they are in direct human rights violation. And this is where we get serious. The call for a United Nations human rights special rapporteur on children to come to Guyana. Who remember when Gay McDougall traveled to Guyana? Let me see the hands here. Who remember Gay McDougall? And why did she travel to Guyana? There were violations by the state pertaining to specific rights for the people of African descent. And we are in another decade for the people of African descent. And so the call here is for a special rapporteur. We're getting serious. We're also calling upon the A.B.C. EU, Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, the Commonwealth CARICOM, just like how you put out statements in our election talking about the call for democracy. Democracy does not mean the absence of the rule of law. Democracy must mean that the state governs to protect human rights and to ensure that children's rights are protected. Hence, the call here, and I'd like to see the hands of all who agree with me, is for the hotels to have child protection policies. Take that, capture that. It's for all hotels to have what? I can't hear you. Have what? And when they have child protection policies, you force them to have a lifeguard online. You force them to have a child safety officer. Everyone there is trained. So as long as your child enters into a hotel in Guyana, you know why we need it? We got so many hotels billing. We are billing hotels more than we billing universities. We're billing hotels more than we billing technical institutions.
Hospital.
And so, well, for you to build so many hospitals, it means that the government intends to make us all sick. Yes, when you look at the volume of hospitals, and they are in the process of doing that. Because once they continue to violate your human rights, this is what they're doing. But I want you to remember, Martin Luther King said, the moral arm of the universe bends towards what? The moral arm of the universe bends towards what? Justice. And that justice means that we must cleanse the Guyana police force. Yes. What we must do? We must cleanse the Guyana police force, because the death of 11-year-old Adriana Younge is not just a simple tragedy. It is a mirror held to our face of Guyana. What we reflect should make us all shudder. There are moments when the mask slip. Did you see their mask slipping? Why are they now telling us about DNA samples? Why are you telling us now about DNA samples taken from the man and the child? I am forensically trained. If DNA samples are going to be taken from anybody here, it's deeper. So all the time, the spirit of Adriana continue to shine the light to show that something is not regular. How can you have a commander who stands in front of a business, protecting a business? How many of you watched the video from the 23rd and kept watching it? We thank God for social media. Without social media, you could not have seen what played out. And you know what they try to tell us now? That we see what we see. Right. They try to say we hallucinating. Right? It's like if your meditation scatters. So you won't see all these things. You won't see a truck attempt to go in and with the intention for us to move the body from there. You always see when the minutes to go. You understand why the child torn up? It's when Mr. Vindi says she's going to bring out dogs. And you know the Sniffer dogs would do, right? What is Sniffer dogs would do? It would have find you where she originally went. Right? And you know, we all saw that video with the famous man, you know, with that type of hair. You know. Telling you, it is clear. Look here. It is clear. It is clear. There's nobody in the pool. All right? So certain things must happen. All those involved in the cover-up and the inaction of Adriana Younge's murder, I call it that, homicide, must be sanctioned. We call on the A.B.C. EU countries to take their visas. They must not be allowed to travel to these countries. They must not be allowed to leave Guyana and go to countries whose laws are going to hold people there accountable should any of this happen. We cannot trust the Guyana police force anymore. That trust is broken. And the government cannot gaslight us to say that what? Somebody carrying up the thing to Mount Sinai? Like really? Y'all hear that? You hear that nonsense after they failed to act and protect that child? So the call is clear. We are not sticking with the Guyana police force for any investigation. We want to have the international community, and I'm saying this, the Honorable Ambassador Kamau, this is UN Resident Coordinator, Honorable Ambassador of the USA, Nicole, High Commissioner Sebastian from Canada, High Commissioner from the UK, Jane Miller. They all have the power. Ambassador Renee from the EU, you have the power to act. And you must act to force the government to do what is right. You cannot just come out and give statements in our elections and then stand back and do anything. You have a duty to help govern a Guyana where children's rights are human rights. Again, children's rights are human rights. Let us ensure that we hold the state accountable for their violations. I thank you.
No Vietnamese.
Thank you so much, Sister Cole. Children's rights are
Human rights.
workers' rights are
Human rights.
every single citizen entitled to life, liberty, security.
Justice.
You know, the farmer's man.
Peace and love. I must have to thank all of you who came from far as people. I'm sure you would have woken up at 4 o'clock to be here. You know, when you look at the crowd here, it's a small crowd, but it's a quality crowd. But these are people here who have making the sacrifice to come here so that they can tell the world, what is happening in this country. I was in Essequibo. Most of you have seen me on television 2 times. We were there talking about the crisis in the rice industry and the crisis in agriculture. There was a very serious crisis, and nobody's talking about that. We will reach a point where we would not have food. Remember, Brother Nigel, we went to that conference where the president announced that they will reduce food by 25% by 2025. So we are in 2025 now, and we are importing food from Brazil. Could you imagine that? They have shamefully admitted that they failed to do what they said 5 years ago. And there are many things that they have failed to do. So this is a talking government. When we organized this rally, the president of the TUC and the TUC leaders, we weren't expecting what happened to Adriana Younge. So this whole situation has shifted into a new situation. And as our sisters say, we can't leave here without thinking, what are we going to do next? It's not about here, it's about next.
Yes.
What are we going to do next? And as she quite rightly pointed out, from her experiences, and I've worked with her, so I know what she's talking about. I've worked with Brother Nigel and these brothers here. You have got to organize. Nobody's asking you to come and organize in Linden. Well, I can't shout because I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning and I was talking on the phone to get people to come here and so on. So I'm sorry. I'm not the person who makes a lot of noise like Irfan Ali and makes a lot of useless antics. What I say is concrete, and what I say, I deliver what I say. We have a crisis, a food crisis in this country. You know, when I was in Essequibo, we had a farmer who was on the television with us. The next day, he had to rush to the hospital, spend 7 days, because he could not reap 70 acres of his rice, which amounted to about $9 million. That's what you're talking about. And who is representing, really, truly representing the farmers, the rice farmers particularly in this country? Mr. Jagdeo sent the General Secretary for the Guyana Rice Producers Association to India as an ambassador. So there's no rice producer organization that is really representing the rice farmers in this country. We represent all the farmers, the cattle farmers, the fish farmers, the other farmers. We represent them. And when I was in Essequibo, I met all of them. And they have a fear, a serious fear, because this administration is terrorizing them. Last night, a top P.P.P man who is broken, he messaged me to say that the administration is telling their supporters not to go to the vigil, not to go to the vigil. Imagine that. So they're not supposed to express what they feel inside. That is the state in which we are in this country. That the state terrorism are fighting people. When I was in Essequibo, the ministers and Mr. Jagdeo was there. And all the meetings that they went to, they were recycling the same people. And the same people were the people, a lot of them, who they employed on this 10-day per month. And when they, a lot of them were dismissed when they didn't go, or when they associated with us. Associating with us is a crime. And if the people are not coming out here for two reasons. One, because of the rain, and two, they don't want to be identified with people who are speaking out about the injustices in this country. That's the problem. And we have to deal with that. As Sister Charlene said, we have to organize in our community. Look, this administration is a dictatorship. And the man who's the dictator is Jagdeo. And we must identify him as that, because Irfan Ali does not have a say. That doesn't allow me to go into all the failures of Ali and his puppetry. But you all know, because you live it like me. I know we have other speakers here, so I won't take up much of your time, and all of us places full and so much get wet. So I close by saying to you that when you go back to your community, the message should be to organize, organize, organize. The election is coming in November, and hopefully we will get a change of government. Okay? So that will end the injustices that we have in the country.
Thank you, Angelo. What is ironical is that we see the state, through the Guyana Police Force, charging citizens under the Cybercrime Act for terrorism. But who is the biggest terrorist?
Right.
It is the state itself. The state is terrorizing through its coercive arm citizens on a daily basis. And not only terrorizing them, they have been inflicting harm against them. They have been killing our citizens. They are high officials of the state, high officials of this government, who vilifies and threatens, in some instances, veiled threats, and in others, open threats. Persons who criticize them. Persons who criticize them. We have seen where, on a number of occasions, activists of the party who controls the government attacking other citizens of this country. Who dare to criticize them, or who dare to stand up against them? We have seen, for instance, in addition to all those killings that reference was made to, where activists, as a matter of fact, not only activists, high officials of the state, and let me name one, and the one that I'm naming is the one who every Thursday has a comic show, and who uses that show to abuse, vilify, and threaten individuals whom, in his impression, are not aligned to the regime. For instance, there is this gentleman, Dr. Terence Campbell, who is a member of the National Resource Fund, appointed by the opposition. You know what was Terence Campbell's sin? Merely saying to us, we have a right to report to, that the fund was being mismanaged.
Yes. Negotiate the contract.
And by merely reporting to us, Dr. Campbell was not only vilified, but he was being threatened by the surrogates of the state. Threatened. We have seen where a number of other persons, someone mentioned Azruddin, someone that the ruling party just perceive maybe may have some aspiration of being a politician, and he's been attacked from all angles. As a matter of fact, there were incidences at Lima Essequibo where a group, visibly P.P.P supporters, were seen attacking verbally supporters of this young man. I must say to you, I am a member of the Ethnic Relations Commission, and when we saw that incident, we brought it to the attention of the commission, and we said then that we are seeing the development of a very tense and untenable situation, which needs to be addressed immediately. It took the ERC some weeks before issuing a statement calling on all parties concerned to exercise caution and to de-escalate the situation, as it were. By the time that statement was issued, we had the incident at the number 42 village of the quarantine, where a representative of the People's National Congress, I understand, up to one Terence Moore, was literally slapped by an activist of the P.P.P. And there's no doubt that she was an activist because she said so.
Right. Money.
So when Indira Jafrali slapped Terence Moore, she said she was defending her party, the P.P.P.
Yes.
That's what she said. You understand? And Terence Moore, at the time when he was slapped, he was with a group of persons attending some meeting by this young Mohammed fella. I want to say this. I said earlier to you that if we sit by idly when an injustice is done to any one of us, then we are contributing to the injustice and we are contributing to the compromising of the peace.
Rearrange the contract.
I am saying therefore.
Rearrange the contract of exam.
I am saying therefore, in conclusion, that we must send a very clear signal to the administration that if any harm befalls any one of you here, we shall hold the state responsible. If any harm comes to Kafra, Any harm comes to the caller. Any harm comes to Charlene. Any harm comes to Lincoln. We shall hold the state responsible.
Yes.
If any harm comes to Campbell, if any harm comes to Mohammed, if any harm comes to anyone who criticizes the state, we shall hold them responsible. We shall hold Ali and Jagyo as head of the state responsible. Pardon me? I call a name. Yes. And they must know. They must know that they'll be held responsible by us.
Or of course.
Well, we have the mayor of Investigative. Mr. Solomon, would you like to bring greetings or say something?
Clap it off, clap it off. Onto the stage. Onto the stage. Onto the stage.
I got greet my friend. Look, let me say to you, say this to you. You know the reason why I believe that there is a special reason why Mr. Solomon should speak to us here today, because the violence of the state against its citizens that we all have made reference to, Linden has suffered the worst fate. And only recently, two persons, one was killed initially by the police under some pretext of being on the other side of the law. And when the community came out in solidarity and in protest against that killing, there was another death. There was another death. We cannot and we must not countenance this kind of violence, right, by the state against our citizens. Chama.
That is great indeed. Thank you very much, Brother Norris. You know, my voice is a little down, so I hope that some persons can hear me. And I'm not here to poke, but I'm glad that I was given the opportunity. So thanks, Lincoln. And as Comrade Norris said earlier, there are so many issues in Guyana at the moment that we had priority matters. Remember, cost of living and corruption. Now you know what is the priority issue? Justice. On the tip of every Guyanese tongue, justice. Because you know why? That particular word cuts across every differences that we have, because it can affect each and every one of us. The brother just talked about Linden. Linden persons believe we are not unaccustomed, in fact, to these injustices. We are not unaccustomed, we are accustomed. But you know what we always said? Anytime you have the threat to justice in Linden, it's the threat to justice anywhere in Guyana. On the 7th and the 8th, we had a policeman come into Linden and gunned down a youth called Ronaldo Peters. Just like that. And then they put out a false statement that caused Linden, only Linden, to erupt. And a gentleman on the 8th named Keon Fortuné lost his life. But what we did, Linden came together. As we said, we're not unaccustomed to injustices, but we said to Guyana, pay attention to these injustices, because what we were saying to Guyana is that you are not removed from the things that are affecting Linden. Right. And unfortunately, we saw Adriana. The police is who got us in this situation. Because we were saying to you in Linden, when the false statement came out, you saw the video evidence to contradict the police statement that Mr. Peters was gunned down, he was unarmed, and an unidentified policeman in unidentified vehicle shot and killed him. They put out a statement saying he was a wanted man and he posed a threat. Nothing of the sort. The police said some man kidnapped the little girl, Miss Adriana. Right. Nothing of the sort. And we said to Guyana, we're all in danger because of things like that. Yes. Today, Linden is going to light a candle for Miss Adriana. But we have been lighting candles for Kian and for Ronaldo for the longest while. Yes. Guyana, pay attention. Least we're all consumed. These are the dark times in Guyana. So what are the common things that are affecting us? So if we can't say Linden got their own struggle, Linden's struggle of justice is now Guyana's struggle.
Yes.
The issue that affected the young men in Linden are now affecting young people of Guyana. So we have common, we have justice, and we have our young people who are under threat. It is most important, Guyana, that we cannot let what happened to Miss Adriana. And you know, as we speak about this, I am from Linden. On the night that Miss Younge, Adriana, was fighting to be found and even our life to be saved,
23rd April.
we had 3 women who were gunned down on the Linden Suicide Highway. 3 women, 1 family. What I'm saying to you, Guyana, is because our crisis have become so accustomed, our consciousness becomes so jaded, that we look to see the most extensive one before the next one come, because we finish with that. So we finish with Linden. We finish with the LaCruz family of those 3 women. And you know what Guyana and the government is saying to us? Let us finish with Miss Adriana tomorrow.
Yes.
Until we see the next sensational event come on us. So I'm here to bring a very simple message from the people of Linden. Very simple message. That the threat to justice anywhere is the threat to justice everywhere. That is our simple message. So that we don't forget, and unlike Ronaldo, unlike Kian, and we've been struggling with this for people called Long, the 3 gentlemen from the 18th of July. Y'all remember them? Those men are part of what this government trend of dealing with this society is about. Unaccountability must not go on for much longer. We, the people of this country, must hold this government accountable. Because we are all in danger if we don't. We can have our children playing in the playgrounds, and someone can come and kill them and then put a name on them as wanted.
Right.
We saw it until we saw the video to contradict that. It is important that we pay attention, Guyana. So I just want to say this before I go. I know Lincoln just pushed me up on the stage, but we all have something to say. Even in the most impromptu environment, we all have something we must say. So I'm saying to you now, our thoughts and our prayers are with those young people who lost their lives. But our action towards justice must continue to be in these sort of resistance.
Yes.
Where we continue to raise our voices, where we continue to lend solidarity to the cause. It matters not who's the cause, as long as the cause is common for justice, it matters not our differences.
Right.
Matters not your difference. Matters not your race, your politics, your creed, anything, because we're all in danger. So I want to say thanks again for me to be able to bring these words, not only as a Lindener, as the mayor, but on behalf of so many Lindeners. I'm glad that we have Apostle and his family and so many persons here. I want to thank those who spoke before and continue to encourage them and us all to keep raising our voices. And you know, I come from a place where it said there are 3 ways to fight injustices. You can see it, and you must know when it's wrong to hate it. Yes, you can. But then the second thing we do, what we're doing here, we speak about it. But I tell you, there is a time we have to go to the third, which we have to do something about.
Yes.
So thanks again. May Almighty God bless you all, and may our dearly departed find the justice that their souls so dearly deserve.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, may I now introduce to you David, who is going to slay Goliath. Let me say this, right? I'm talking figuratively here, right? It's David, who is going to slay Goliath. David, go ahead.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I just consider myself fortunate to be here to participate with you, joining together lobbying for justice. Why do we have to come to this stage when we have persons that are supposed to discharge their duties and ensure that justice is served? That means our trust in these people will be betrayed. Yes. And before I go further, I would like to say that I would like to reserve my rights to make any further correction, omission, or clarification if and or when necessary. That's good. Because I'm here to say things that may aggravate somebody, and you may very well see a wanted bulletin. So I have to be very careful in what I say. We preach freedom, but we don't enjoy freedom. What is happening in our society today, we deserve or we have to come together as a nation to fight against a monster that perhaps we ourselves have created by putting the wrong people in places. They become a threat to our safety. We have lost so many people. I've lost 2 of my cousins. One was stabbed to death in his house. 9 stabbed. Today, no justice. Another was shot and killed in the mines, preparing to go home. With some false allegation. There was a robbery and he ran there to see and he got shot. But there was no robbery reported. So what is happening to our people? And there are others, there are several others that have gone unnoticed, sad to say. They are our people. Where are we going, brothers and sisters? Are we going anywhere to safety? I doubt whether. Many of our Armenian brothers and sisters are being denied the kind of representation they deserve, while their rights are being protected by international standards. But very often these standards are being ignored. Even our own laws are being ignored by those whom we trust. And don't doubt me, I believe many of these people are being paid by our money to take advantage of our own.
Oh, yes.
So what is actually happening here, brothers and sisters? The time has come for us to unite and stand together as brothers and sisters. Despite we are being labeled as thugs, scapehead, whatever that means, I don't know. But I stand to represent my position as a thug. Right. While in the same breath they're saying one Guyana, unity. But we spare no effort in destroying our brothers by labeling them and doing things that will cause them to get involved. Yes. Brothers and sisters, many of our people are uneducated because of financial constraints. I was advised not to say this, but I'm not educated. And the reason for that, because we're poor. So the poor are the people who would have to clean the drains and do all the nasty work. And is there enough resources for us? Yes. There are enough resources to offer every Guyanese a decent life. You don't have to be billionaires, but we should be able to find the needs, provide for our family without any strain. I was sitting at the market on Monday last, and a little child asking his father to buy some candy. The candy, the pack is $2,000. The father couldn't afford it. And the child keep crying. Why is that happening in a country like ours that are being touted as the fastest growing economy in the world? And we have the poorest people and the lowest public service.
Hot fire from them.
What is happening? You know what, brothers and sisters? I believe corruption starts from the top because the Bible said that the anointing flows from the head and it goes down. So every arm of the government that falls under there are corrupt. Are we going to get anywhere? And you know what? Next, a nation divided against itself cannot stand, and despair no effort in ensuring that we're divided, putting people against people. We are created in the likeness of God, Amen. In His own likeness. So however we look, He loves us that way. Right. So, brothers and sisters, let us continue the struggle. It may not be easy, because those that we're speaking to it seems as though they don't have air, or they have something in them. And perhaps they don't have eyes because they don't see what is happening. While they're saying we care, they really don't mean that. So it appears as though certain segments of our society is not a part of the Guyanese society. We are just thugs, numbskulls, scrapehead, and whatever you want to call it. It's sad to say. When are we going to come together? We must come together as brothers and sisters. Look over the obstacles that we create between ourselves and show love for one another. We will never have justice if we are divided. Sad to say, a little child. And every effort is being made to distract people.
Yes.
Every effort.
Yes.
You go there, you're peacefully protesting, somebody is there to make mischief.
Yes.
Pointing finger to the people that are seeking justice. What are we to do, brothers and sisters? We will have to put our trust in God and keep up the struggle, working together as a people with the same objective: one people, one nation, one destiny.
Yes.
We will never achieve that if we are divided. And we will never achieve that if we have people holding high offices that has no love for the people. So, with this, brothers and sisters, I will advise that we continue to live in love and in unity. If we don't do that, we doom to destruction. Thank you very much.
Yes. Document the case. Put it in front of the United Nations Children's Human Rights Committee. Document Adriana Younge's case. Ensure that they know that her right to life has been violated. Yes. Document it. Children's rights are human rights.
There is a relationship between peace and prosperity. Between peace.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning. Just playing some guitar while I wait for you guys. Good morning, good morning. So I'll give you guys some updates on the Adriana Younge case. What's going on, Sion? Good Grand Rising, Michelle. So I'm gonna wait a couple minutes. If you're starting this live afterwards, stay Paul. We got a couple musicians in here. Good morning. It's still 10 minutes before lunchtime. All right, so I think we close to start. I'm gonna start talking another minute. I'm listening to this guy Justice Durr and grooving along till enough of you come in. Good morning from Guyana to Grenada. What's going on? All right, so let's start. So you got a couple hundred people in the room. Share the live, please. Let's talk about Adriana Younge. So, good morning, guys. Good morning. We've had reports in the news that Adriana will be laid to rest tomorrow. So the chance she will be laid to rest tomorrow. There were reports in the news that another pathologist was on his way. The government chose to bar. Seems like the family, I'm walking you into the updates here. So I'm starting with what's been current in the news. Good morning, Gregory. Good morning, guys. What's up? All right. I'm starting with what's in the news, and then I'm going to walk you through my understanding of things. Like many of you, this case has affected me deeply. I've been deeply troubled by the levels of corruption we have all witnessed with regard to this child's disappearance and then the subsequent discovery of her dead body next to a pool with many unexplained injuries and still many unanswered questions. So good morning, good morning. I'm taking you guys through from where we are right now in the news to my current understanding based on communication with Adriana's family. It's raining. I don't know if that's affecting the audio. If it does at any point, please tell me and I'll try to speak up for you guys. So we saw yesterday in the news that there was another pathologist on his way to Guyana. Reports in the live, I'm not surprised, right? So I saw that there was another pathologist and apparently the family wanted another opinion, but the government, even though he was apparently in the country, and I also spoke to someone that was on the same flight with the pathologist, the government came out almost immediately to say they didn't think there was a need for this other guy. Basically, you know, they had other people in the process. There were so many credible people involved in the process, and the family were happy, the lawyer was happy, the doctor was happy, everyone was happy. Why would they need another opinion? The Minister of Health even said, you know, the family is not, the body is not in our possession anymore, and anything, who knows what could happen to the body? Who knows what could happen if this guy comes, like what he would find? We're now responsible. We don't have the body anymore. Well, you know, the body when it went for so it went to Balwansing, right? It was scanned. The first hospital it went to reputedly didn't have a rape kit, but in the autopsy they took swabs and everything. But it was funny to me that they're saying, oh, we didn't have the body anymore. Well, the body was stored at Ezekiel Funeral Home, right? And guess where the body of the person murdered at Doubleday in 2012 was stored? It was stored at the same Ezekiel Funeral Home. This body that was in mint condition, pristine condition when it was pulled from the pool, according to the lawyer who I also spoke to, I'm walking you guys through this. I reached out to people for clarity and understanding, so I can always come to you guys and communicate factual information based on facts, people I actually spoke to, because I am desperately trying to understand what is going on. So this body was stored at Ezekiel Funeral Home, and under some circumstance, it was allowed to go into a state of advanced decomposition, such that it made it difficult by the time the visiting impartial pathologist arrived. There was crucial evidence missing from the body, and it was not presented in the condition it was found in. The family also went, and you guys could go, I know Newsroom, these people don't look at this, y'all come to discredit me or see Guyana Daily News said Francis is inciting terror. I am not. Let me start by telling you guys I'm calling for peace. I want you to listen to this and contemplate it peacefully. There will be no looting, burning, and hooliganism in Adriana's name. Okay? But let us consider the facts. So we are told that, you know, everybody is happy with the process. And my understanding is that is not the truth of the matter. So body was stored at Ezekiel. A lot of evidence was not able to be, it was not preserved in pristine condition. So the family saw the state forensic pathologist, Dr. Nihal Singh, at Ezekiel funeral parlor. There was so much going on in the day with the autopsy. It seems the lawyer forgot to release a statement about it. But I confirm that the family did bump into the state pathologist that was apparently doing some work on the body the day before the autopsy. So what was he doing, and what was he doing down there? The father would like to know what the state, why they had other people looking at the body before the actual people came into the country to do the work, right? Why were the cotton buds missing from her nose? I came on a live because people saying, oh, you're not a pathologist, Francis. You know, I'm just speaking to the experts. So on Dr. Caleb's live, which would be the family doctor, on his live, he said that there was mucus. See, there was nothing in the girl's nose, but he hypothesized it might have been mucus or froth. And the government have run with that story. I called Dr. Caleb, and based on the photographic evidence, what the father saw, what everybody there and the family saw in her nose was cotton wool stuffed into her nose. And he conceded, yes, indeed, it was cotton wool. He promised an update on his Facebook page to explain the cotton buds. He never came back and said anything about the cotton buds. As a matter of fact, he never called the family even to ask them how they are. After the autopsy, they never heard back from their family doctor. He never declared to the family that he was close friends with Indar. He never declared who his backers for Medical Arts Hospital that he purchased within the last year, or he never declared that to the family. Go and ask the father how many of those people were chosen by him. You should first ask that question. Okay, how many people were sent to him to represent him, and how many people did he actually choose? Ask the father that question, right? So it was strange to me that Dr. Caleb never came back to correct the record, because even the father wanted it to be known that the body was tampered with before the autopsy began, that someone removed the cotton buds. Even Dr. Caleb concurred that if you do an autopsy on someone and they're missing the cotton buds stuffed into their nose that the body was found with, it's much easier to say, oh, they died without force and nobody killed them, which is what I've seen some headlines saying, that nobody killed this girl. The evidence was removed from the body. What was the chain of custody? Who tampered with the evidence? Was it when the state pathologist went? Was it a policeman? Was it someone else that was paid off for the funeral parlor? Was someone paid to turn off the AC or the refrigeration device to allow her body to go into an advanced state of decomposition? Because nobody can give account of how a body can get into that condition if it's stored properly. So the doctor has not come forward to clarify that evidence was missing from the body and it was tampered with before this impartial autopsy began with impartial people that came, these international renowned experts, right? The lawyer, because I spoke to the lawyer as well, I then called Mr. Wade and had a conversation with him, because it seems like the father is having difficulty, and this is what he wanted me to communicate with you. The father is suddenly having a lot of difficulty getting his actual view out to the press and the public. He's getting a lot of difficulty. The statements he are asking to be issued are not being issued, and it seems the auntie has taken control of the narrative on this situation. His wife is grieving. Is the sister of his wife. His wife is grieving. Everyone is grieving. We can all understand that, and we must empathize with that, right? We must feel empathy and compassion for this family. Since the moment their baby went missing, every effort was made to turn them in another direction, deflect, change attention, change the narrative, get them to go home. They have not had it easy. For almost 2 weeks now, they have had the most difficult journey any of us can imagine. We must empathize with them, right? We must empathize with them. And just like when your comrades are weak and tired on the battlefield, and you have to fetch them, you have to hold them. And right now, this family needs the support of all of Guyana. We need to put them on our shoulders and walk forward with them in the quest for justice for this young girl. So the mother is weak and broken right now, right? The father is the father of the child, but somehow the narrative from the aunt has been dominating the press, and we keep hearing about the family, but there's a lot of things the father doesn't agree with. And I reached out to him because I saw a video of him after the autopsy where he said, they say she died from drowning, right? But he said that was not a result for him. He did not agree with, he was uncomfortable with some aspects of the process. There was no statement released on it. So I also asked the lawyer, well, since the doctor has confirmed there was cotton wool in her nose and it was missing when the autopsy came, and that could have affected the impartiality of the autopsy, why hasn't a statement been released to this effect to the public? Why hasn't a statement been released to the effect that the father is not happy with the process, that he feels some elements of it have been corrupted, right? Why is there a lack of clarity on these things? There's a lot of unanswered questions. We noted that the police tried to set up another man for abduction, and they came back and said it was a civilian worker within the police force who gave them wrong information, and they sent home some people and put some people under arrest, and nobody had a name. They've been arresting terrorists all week. All these terrorists have names. Guyana now has the most. Y'all don't even know what you're doing, right? For disorderly conduct and looting and these things, you could have charged people with those crimes. You want to go for terrorism? Next thing, Guyana has the most terrorists in the Caribbean and Latin America. Think of what that will do to our international image and reputation, right? That the definition of the term is used so loosely. A man got arrested for terrorism for reposting a meme, a joke on his social media page and put on $150,000 bail, right? These are things that have been the outcome of this case. All of our attention has been tried to push in the other direction. And this father is having a very difficult time communicating with the public. So now the public believe this man is happy with the results. He didn't want any independent oversight. All the people around him is all the people he chose for himself. He fully agrees with everything. He agrees his daughter wasn't killed, or there was no forcible drowning, and that she drowned, and right? And everyone is run away with that. And all the state propaganda outlets, from Daily News to NEWSROOM to everybody, has picked up and run with this story in a desperate attempt that we sweep this under the carpet, forget this girl, and move on to regular programming. So there are a few clarifications to be made here. I spoke to Mr. Young, Sir Brian, and my understanding from him is there are a number of people in this process that he does not have full trust in, right? I know the lawyer for this family is a hardworking man, tirelessly hardworking, especially to the benefit of the poor. He's done a lot of pro bono service, and Mr. Wade, from all accounts, is a great man. Unfortunately, he does not enjoy a high level of trust from Adriana's father. That's the fact of the matter. A lot of things he wants communicated to the public are not being communicated to the public. And he also indicated that he was considering changing his legal team, right, for representation. The family doctor, y'all, NEWSROOM, I'm gonna let y'all do some work. Y'all go and interview that man and ask him who chose certain people around him and whether they declared their conflicts of interest or their connections. Because not only is Indar accused of being close friends with Caleb, but also knows the people of Ezekiel Funeral Home quite well. And he was accused of being friends with the people at Doubleday, which he's denied, and he'll deny everything, of course, right? But we must open all lines of inquiry and ask ourselves some tough questions. So yes, Adriana's body may be laid to rest tomorrow, right? Because her mother is exhausted. This pathologist that they sent in, right? The government said that they block him, and they would only until the 12th. They want to block this man an extra 9 days before they allow him to do this independent investigation. But here's the funny thing. Who sent that man? Because the family don't know about that man. The father don't know anything about that pathologist that was in the country reportedly yesterday. So we're asking if it's some sort of false flag, like if that man was meant to come, and if they had conceded and said they're going to wait the extra time, he to come in and confirm the things the other people said. There is a voice note that's going around. It's been very, very interesting. It's been forwarded, among people, I guess, that are supporting this cause. But it's making some serious allegations, right? I'm not going to bring them to public light right now, but it's making some serious allegations about this process and the independence of this entire investigation, right? So we must consider things in Guyana as they are. This is a country where just a few months ago, the CEO of the Ministry of Housing was alleged to have received a $1 million house in the US in exchange for like 30 acres of land. It's not a country where people don't get bought out or offered money, right? So what would the government do that already started with trying to suggest a murder child was kidnapped, that is doing everything in its power to suggest she was always in the pool? She never left. After it first sent its agents out to tell us she was not in the pool. Now they're saying she was in the pool, right? She drowned, but where did she drown? Because she was not in the pool. So now they're saying she was. You guys did not see what you saw. The cotton wool stuffed into her nose when you found her. That was not cotton wool. It was mucus. The injuries on her hand, the localized bleaching of her skin, even that there was a meniscus here, there was like an oval, like when you submerging your hand slowly in water and the liquid is pooling, but it doesn't fully, right? And I brought that up with Dr. Caleb. Because first he told me, he read on the internet that, if your hand in contact with if they had chlorine in the pool and maybe the hand was in contact with the ground and maybe chlorine could do that. I said, Dr. Caleb, that was not a uniform distribution of those injuries. It looked more chemical in nature. There seemed to be some lacerations. The injuries on her knee that were red, it would require capillary action. They would have to be bruised and her capillary vessels would have to have burst and be bleeding for that kind of redness. It's not a post-mortem injury. He agreed with me on all these facts. He's not published anything in support of this to say, to make some of these clarifications to the public. And I can only wonder why these things are not forthcoming if we are all seeking justice for this little girl, right? There's a team of people working on this matter from around the world. It has an international team has been assembled that is working on this matter. That any node you could come and shoot me at, the work will continue. That's the setup. That is the setup, right? Work will continue on this case until there's justice. There's an international team now investigating this case. I hope you guys can understand that, right? And Adriana's father wants justice. What I felt from that man made my hair stand on end. I'm gonna tell you some things from that man. I hearing rumors that I hear $200 million yesterday that the family tech buyout, $200 million was given to this man. I hear $20 million was given to this man. This man didn't take no money. I believe him. When you talk to that man wants justice for his daughter. He don't want no money. You know what he told me? Mr. Young told me, he said, I born poor. I grew up poor. I live as a poor man and I was happy. I had my daughter and my family. He said, I spend the most on them to take care of them. I was a happy man. I was happy. He said, people look at me, I do my boss work. He said, I'm with my boss work. I build a little house for myself, right? I provide for my family. I was happy. They can't give me nothing. Let that sink in. The man did not take buyout. Y'all stop saying that. Right? Him and his wife not taking any buyout. At least he is 100% sure of that. He's not taking any buyout. They've been offers to help fly the body and the family out of the country. It seems the government don't want to follow through with any offer of assistance. And even this guy that they claim the family was bringing in, that the family don't know nothing about, they block him. They didn't even want him to go view the body. What are they gonna find? What are they gonna find if they see the body? So they want to shut it down, shut this case from tomorrow. I'm making this today because from tomorrow, predictably, if I came to make this live, you know, have a set of people are gonna be like, let her rest in peace, Francis. Let her rest. Let her soul rest. You inhumane, brutal man. You're gonna be cast like I'm inciting or something, and you can have the typical talking points. The family is happy. The lawyer is happy. The doctor is happy. Everyone in this process is happy. Why are you still making a noise? I had a feeling. I reached out to people. That's why I decided, let me see if I can make contact with the doctor, the family doctor. Let me see if I can make contact with the lawyer, right? Let me see what Mr. Young has to say about all of this. You know, last time I saw him was on the night of the disappearance, as we were all waiting outside the hotel, hoping Adriana would be found alive when the police were telling us she was abducted. And I want to remind you, while they said they arrested these people or whatever, and it was a civilian, there's a point I'm picking up from earlier. Nobody was given a name. You're arresting a lot of civilians for terrorism, right? And you not produce any evidence. There's no evidence to the public. Anyone could go down for terrorism. In the same way you told Adriana's parents that she was in a red and black realm, and you tracked it on the naming. And you're saying, well, they gave one bit of false information and there's no charges for this. This information came from the Guyana police force. It never came with the caveat that it's from a civilian worker within the force. Did no one double check that footage within the 10, 11, 12 hours that she was missing while people were there waiting to the next day? Y'all didn't double check the footage. Even though the family went across the road, look at the CCTV from the house that was obliquely opposite the hotel with a CID, and they confirmed there was no Adriana getting into no car, and that car was not around there. Y'all still insisted that yes, it was. You never double checked the footage. What about the next day? Who provided wrong footage to the police? A next set of wrong footage to tell them that she was spotted by a bus stop with a man in nappy hair. And then y'all told the family she was being tracked of reading hoop to kind of get everybody to go off in that direction. Who gave that sequence? It was not one bit of wrong information the police provided. It was a series of lies that they told. Who are the civilians in the force that did that? And who allowed that to happen? Someone called me this morning to tell me in Critics Live he was mistaken, though he went there to say that the pool was clear. I mean, why was he allowed into the pool and nobody from the family? They had barred the family from coming in for 10 hours, and Critic alone was allowed to go by that pool. But let me tell you something that some of you have missed from the narrative. When the grandmother went with that child to the pool in the afternoon, there was a swimming class going on at the same time, right? And the man, once they realized she was missing, he paused the swim class. That's not a big pool. And I've been swimming my whole life. I've even swum competitively, right? I'm a good swimmer. I could tell you about pools. This man stopped his swimming class and searched the whole pool for this girl. He was the first person to search the pool, one of a number of people to search the pool. He dove and searched the pool, a swim instructor in a pool that's not very big. The first man, he confirmed that she was not in the pool. And then the police pivoted to saying, because they confirmed she was missing from the premises. That's what the people who start saying the hotel was saying all along. She was not there. They continued business as usual. They allowed other people to use the pool. Nobody saw this girl, found her. Critic then went the night. Nobody in the pool. Aerial view picture, nobody in the pool. Next morning, another drone shot, nobody in the pool. Then at some point in the drone shot, then you see a body by the step. Then a few minutes later, not a couple minutes later, you see the body like 5 foot out in the pool. There's an officer there with wet trousers and some Nike on. His Nike shoe print is right there. People now saying the man was wearing two-color jeans. Two-color jeans. And I guess the pool had a current in it. It had turbulence and a current in it that allowed a body to move from a step to nearly the middle within like a few minutes. Okay. You know, not like anybody sat on the edge and kicked her in with their feet. I mean, I wouldn't want to hypothesize on something like that. Definitely probably had turbulence in the pool, But there's a lot of investigation that needs to be done. Adriana's father is not satisfied. Her parents are not satisfied with this. I don't know if something different has been communicated inadvertently to the lawyers, but the statements coming out don't align with the views of this family. So when Adriana is laid to rest, right, the investigation is still going to continue. The father does not consider this a solved mystery. There's a lot of questions, many questions that need to be answered about this case, and it now has international attention, right? It makes us look terrible. The fact that, and you see, the perspective here may be shaped a lot by the local propaganda press, right? And the corrupt mechanisms that support it. But you see, when you get outside of this country, people are not stupid and they're not blind. They've been dissecting this case fine. And it's horrified people. I spoke to an attorney in the US that told me this is the biggest, the most corrupt case. He's one of the most corrupt cases he's ever heard about in his life. In his life, he was shocked and aghast. You understand? People are scared to bring their children to Guyana because you could take your kid to a random hotel, a nice hotel at that, right? That claim to have high standards and be an international hotel. You could take them there for a day of fun and they go to buy a pool band, come back and they disappear. And the police now would bar you from searching for your child in that place for 10 hours and then tell you they get abducted and send you all around the place on a wild goose chase. And next thing they find your child body in the same place that you know they were not. And you don't get justice. And then, right? You feel comfortable taking your child to a country that's all over the international press about them. So, I mean, we always talk about tourism and building the tourism product. On a basic level, you don't understand the link. Justice is also linked to tourism. You don't want to go to a country where there's the justice system is just debased and corrupt, as in this country, that your baby could go missing, turn up dead, no justice, and they come and tell you, no forcible drowning, just have to remove the cotton buds from her nose and vital evidence. It needs to be made a part of the public record, and this is what Adriana's father has indicated to me that he wants to pursue. He wants to make it a part of the public record. They're not happy with the investigation. They're not happy with the legal representation. They are not happy with the fact it's not been stated in the press that vital evidence was removed, the body was tampered with before these people arrived, before these impartial investigators they're talking about arrived. The gentleman, it was interesting though, the man that was coming that the family don't know about, right? This man was reportedly coming. The government immediately started questioning his qualifications, say he don't have no qualifications, and he had some case in 2015 or, right? The man was cleared apparently, but they attacked him. The pathologist that was coming from Barbados, people raised similar concerns about him. He didn't do his residency, he was underqualified. People in Barbados were writing in the comment section on the Guyanese post to tell them that that guy does hardly get work because he's not seen as a competent person. The government sent everyone out the next day. Newsroom, everyone was defending that man and his credentials and his qualifications. I asked the lawyer about Mr. Wade. I was like comparing the two people. And he said, up to now, that guy hasn't presented his qualifications. Why hasn't that been made public? It's a lot of questions. So these are things I'm asking with the permission or authority of Adriana's father, because he wants justice for his child. He's not taking buyout. He don't want no money. And he found it funny that the president would visit his house 2 times in 3 days to see him. The second time he went there, he met with the aunt. That's that video where she's telling him he was behaving like a scrape. She saw him blocking roads and protesting and stuff. All right. He'd gone back to meet with him. The first lady went to meet with him. He said he didn't want to see her. Priya Manik-Chan went to meet with him 2 times, right? They send James Bond, And James Bond was on the internet making a post saying, compensation is justice. Why were you on the internet saying that, Mr. Bond? James Bond? They send everybody to this man. He don't want to see nobody. People he never see in his life. Why are you sending so many people? It's not normal. He wants justice. He wants investigation. He wants the FBI and international agencies to be allowed to come and investigate this case independently. He's asking for clearance. The vice president is hemming and hawing about it, but no word on it. So don't let's run away with the idea that this case has not been corrupted from top to bottom. Don't let's run away with the idea that Adriana's family are happy and satisfied with the efforts of state that first told them their daughter was abducted, right? And was involved, as you would have seen posts made before the autopsy. The state pick up these people, got in the hotel, behind them every step of the way. There's even questions as to the real identity of one of those people, but I didn't get full information on that yet. So it's just speculation at that point. That's some of the investigation that's still going on. It's an overwhelming volume of information that's coming every day, sometimes overwhelming. I think yesterday I probably spent 14 hours talking, right? Woke up hoarse this morning. Overwhelming volume of information. And not just to me, there's a network of people that are sharing information. And that's why I said there's not a story that's easy to shut down. You can't go after one node in this network and shut it down. And it's so decentralized, you can't shut it down. You're just going to keep blowing up this story more and more. The more people, because you already tried to criminalize this is a real scandal here, you know. After trying to paint the picture that this family has gotten justice and they are very happy with the results, you then try to criminalize their support base, like the people supporting Adriana. Whoever went out and opportunistically looted and robbed, lock up those people. Why the government still can't find the people behind the acid attack? Why haven't they used the same propaganda channels that they used to say 2 Afro men attack family with acid, right? And vengeful attack for this. They make it sound like it's Adriana Young protesters, like it's a race war thing. Why now the news has come out that this was a domestic dispute? There's something, her husband hired these people or somebody close to her. She's familiar with these people. Why hasn't it come out? Even my own mom feels, to this morning I talking with her, my own mother telling me how, you know, and these people supporting Adriana Young and they go in and throw acid on people. Why the government so wicked? I was not supporters of Adriana Young. Those are hooligans and criminals. And I went down to the school to show you guys the other day that there's like a dozen cameras around that primary school. Why can't we see the footage up to now? People came and said the men that they put up actually in jail already for the last year. Why can't we see the high definition footage from the state CCTV cameras that cost us hundreds of millions of dollars, the network that has been expanded in recent years? Is that just for tracking threats of the state or people y'all don't like, to track them down? That hooliganism, the people y'all in, because y'all didn't lock up everybody, right? Is used as justification to bring a private security firm, Sheriff Security, that runs a hate speech page, Guyana Daily News, onto the street shooting up with the police force. And even without the police force, then people they're shooting up in Agricola. Next day, one of their security guys is arrested with weed and an unlicensed firearm. How many that didn't match his precept? How many people like that are in sheriff? How many unlicensed guns y'all have in the communities? Were you playing cops and robbers with yourself in Agricola? Since when is that allowed? How is Minister Indar rolling with 2 van loads of sheriff security with guns during these protests up the West Coast that multiple people reported seeing Indar traveling with these people? Are we going back to the phantom days? Why are phantom gang members coming out on the road, seen with these hooligans? People are also known P.P.P contractors. All of these photos have been out in the public domain, and yet people keep insisting it's Adriana Young supporters. And I'm seeing these headlines, oh, it's not about Adriana no more. It don't matter no more. Look at these protesters, what they're doing.
all to deflect us from this case and to paint the picture the family are happy. It's wicked, it's corrupt, it's unjust. You know? So there's a lot of questions yet to be answered. The investigation is not closed, not in her family's mind. They don't want any money. That's what's scaring everybody in this thing here. From my understanding, when I talked to her father, I understood. They're scared because these people, some people would take buyout for the kid. Some people would take buyout. You could give them $100 million and they say, give me the money, whatever. But they don't want buyout, right? So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Some of it I'm not even in control of. I'm just privy to the information, all right? But I know there are a lot of moving parts going on, and not everything can be spoken about in public, right? Because anything, any little bit of evidence people bring forward, they then devote the week or the next few days to discredit it through the propaganda press, all right? Innocent little girl. And the nation is still focused on the fate of this innocent little girl. And I know yesterday I was in some area, it was a P.P.P constituency, right? I was in a rum shop. I had some old men around a table, around a bottle of vodka. You know what these men was talking about? The man was talking about and your hands and things, right? So whatever you've been trying, because I said which constituency it was, because there's been efforts to cast this as some, this thing turned into a race war and to drive division through the people and whatever. It didn't work, guys. Everyone still has it on their mind. Nobody forgot about it. We're back to regular programming. We focus on Adriana. If it was all the hooligans and protesters came from Adriana camp, how come at all these peaceful vigils, as long as sheriff, security, and the police not there, no problems? How is that? Y'all know the man that gets shooting the balls was a 10-day worker. I told you they were going down there. I told you that there are good police in Guyana police force. There are good policemen and women in that force that do not want to be involved. There's a lot of people in this whole cover-up that don't want to be involved, that are struggling to sleep, that are struggling with their conscience, that are struggling with what they saw, that are struggling to answer to God, that are struggling on a Sunday when they are praying and they know the secrets that they're holding. There are a lot of people struggling right now. Right? So you would never hear me join you and say, well, the whole police force bad. No. But the bad ones will suppress the good ones in there. They had people that laid down their weapons and did not want to go and shoot the protesters because the government planned it. I told you from the night before, people was calling me to tell me the government got something big planned tomorrow. People, they had to bring in trainees. How you think the police with the bus for the drugs end up shooting at protesters? They bring in trainees, they pull in all kind of people. Some people just stay home. They did not want to participate in shooting their brothers and sisters over a big fracas that they know the people did not create. They didn't want to do it. They send them to running people yard up and down the place, shooting up, to create terror, to drive our minds away from this. Why are we so wicked? Why? Why? So the family is not happy. The aunt, I know she means well, right? But according to the father, she is not speaking on his behalf. He is the father of this child. Let's remind ourselves. It's the ultimate authority with the mother. The mother is deeply in grief right now. So they have been broken by this process. I want you to understand that. And when you say that they're laying her to rest tomorrow, they've beaten these people into submission. But this man will not submit. He will go to the end to get justice for his daughter. And we have noted the attempts to criminalize him and his family. We noted that the Guyana police force, when they were at the hospital, he said, police, you see there's a live with him. He said the police came and just snapped a picture of his driver. And they want to know why they snap a picture of his driver. Just so they just stand up there. Next thing, the man in the papers wanted for terrorism. You know what's a terrorism charge? Around the world? They have a lot of innocent people, just like the man who posted a meme. The meme was about burning speed camera. Man, a speed camera like 20 foot up in the air, buddy. Did he call people out with torches to burn the speed camera? No. He reposted a meme, buddy. And he get locked up for terrorism. Now, that case was highlighted because he went on $150,000 bail as an Indo-Guyanese, and the Afro-Guyanese was going on $500,000 bail for the same crime, right? Well, anyhow, the man didn't make contact, and he thanked all of us for highlighting the case, because I came back when I learned of the charge. Another friend came in the comments to tell me and shared the meme with me privately. I don't know if you all are arresting people for terrorism for sharing the meme privately, but she shared it with me privately, because, you know, you hear somebody terrorism inciting. I thought the man was calling for looting and all these things. When I saw the meme, I went cold. I said, wait, the government is arresting people for terrorism and charging them for posting jokes? Well, what country we living in all justified by saying the protesters came out because of Adriana Younge, when that was not the case. Lock up a man for terrorism. Now, when you get charged for terrorism, right, you can't travel. You might as well be confined to your country of origin. You think you can go to get a visa to go travel and visit your relatives or whatever, and they're gonna look and ask you criminal record check and they can see, oh, you've been charged with terrorism. You think they care if you can be like, no, it was a meme? No, the government processed you and charged you for posting a meme, and now you can't travel. You're locked. You're locked down here. That's what this government are currently doing to people in Adriana Younge's name. And y'all lock up the actual criminals and hooligans. I must try and find a way to publish your evidence now to the public. The public have lost faith and confidence in the police force and the government that they are a part of. The police force are a part of the executive branch of government. The president is the commander of the armed forces. We've lost confidence. I have a lot of people in jail just locked up. And the sad thing about this country with the racial lens that we often view things through, once is a black person accused of a crime, is infinitely more difficult, especially if they're innocent, to convince people otherwise. They're functioning under the assumption there was innocent people that people they just come and write, oh, PNC church boy, PNC church boy. So it was interesting that they end up losing, because of the public outrage over the man with the meme. They end up losing him, but nobody else. So he wasn't operating on the suspicion of naturally having DNA that made him a hooligan or a violent criminal, you know? And we can dive into that more on another occasion. But just something to think about. Whether our justice system is equal, whether it is fair, whether it is just. Where is the evidence? If you guys had camera evidence of a girl that was abducted, that was never abducted, and you use that to arrest a man the next day for abduction at 6 in the morning, her body was found around 9:23 or close to 10, right? Come on, man. So those are the updates I have for you. There will be more communication from Adriana's father forthcoming, I'm sure, after tomorrow. The nation is going to be grieving, mourning her death. And I'm just here to tell you, on behalf of her father, who is finding it very difficult to get his voice out to the public all of a sudden, that he does not consider it closed. He thinks the government has done many things, including not being able to explain crucial evidence that disappeared from his daughter's body that would have made it much easier to see that there was tampering with, that she was handled by someone. She didn't just simply drown in a pool, all right? Because they checked that pool, there was nobody there. So the government have to explain, where did she drown, right? So let me check through See some of your comments. Is an update on the live. Show us where the incident occurred. Yeah. All right, guys. I don't have I have much more to say on this, but I have a lot more to say on it. But I'm gonna only say so much. Like I said, there is a network that is dedicated and devoted to upturning all of the relevant facts concerning this case, so that nobody in their right mind would ever decide again in this country and elsewhere that they can see somebody's innocent child just come to have a day of fun with their family and take God out their thoughts and decide they can just snatch that person. Allegedly. We put that in there before the government come to say Francis is inciting. But that girl was not in the pool. This is gaslighting on a national level to tell thousands of people they didn't see what they saw. Even some come up with a complicated physics calculation using Snell's law and the refraction index and the diffraction of water. She was not in the pool. Where did she drown? Right? Dr. Caleb also said they didn't rule out that she could have been sedated and then immersed in water, right? He said all the drownings at Doubleday, the people that have fluid in their lung. He said they don't know how they do it, but somehow they seem to have a way. There's a quote from Dr. Caleb, never made that public. And I would go on a witness stand, they would make sure I don't make it to the witness stand. So I telling y'all now, that's what I heard. I would take a polygraph to verify it. That's exactly what I heard, right? So it confused me that the things I'm hearing directly from the lawyer, directly from the family doctor, not been published. Why is that? How is that? So when the father told me, he's considering getting a new legal team, I understood. When he told me that he didn't have full trust in this family doctor, I could understand, because when he learned afterwards, people were telling him he didn't learn about the conflicts of interest. He himself is wondering why there's no public record that his daughter's body was missing vital evidence. He's wondering how her body could have been allowed to decompose so much that they were not able to see the black and blue marks that are clearly visible in the picture when she's pulled out of the pool, and the abrasions that were noted on her, that her body was bloated, is what the lawyer told me when she was on the table. We all saw that body. How the body ended up bloated if it was stored in a freezer properly? Let us ask ourselves the difficult questions, right? So I have some more work to do, and especially before tomorrow. But let our thoughts be with Adriana Younge. Let our thoughts be with her family who are grieving in this desperately tragic moment. Let our thoughts be with the children around this country that need protection. They need protection from people like us, the adults in the room. We are the responsible ones and the agents in our society, and it falls upon us. It is our decision that make sure we are creating a safe environment for the nation's children, right? You know how much time I spend, hours we spend at the pools, swimming. Sometimes in our childhood, your mother walking, my mother walking, we gone on our own. Countless hours we spend swimming and having fun together. Not thinking someone come and snatch one of us and we turn up dead with cotton wool stuff in our nose. And our parents would be barred from entering the hotel for hours and hours. Never thinking of that, right? Children deserve peace of mind, so the parents, that they know they're in a safe environment. We deserve peace of mind to know that if something happens, no effort will be spared to locate this child. No effort will be spared, that things will immediately be mobilized, that we will not actively be barred. Everyone deserves that, right? So if you come to argue against that, You're arguing with the wrong person. Okay. So we'll follow for developments. Like I said, there are a lot of people working on this right now. I know Mr. Darwin Best from VPAC he's also working on the case. He's due to make his own statement at some point. I love the work that VPAC are doing actually, right? Very proactive. There have been a number of people that have been very proactive in this case. I saw Manzo Walton had a meeting recently on this matter with the U.S. Embassy. There was a publication to that effect. There's a lot of people. There's people linking attorneys in the U.S. There's investigative teams that form in England. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts behind the scenes, and this is not something anybody can shut down. It's impossible. So the counter narratives, even there's people. I learned there's a group in the U.S. that are diligently collecting all the government attempts to change the narrative. They're diligently keeping track of all the different. It fascinated me, the work they're doing, right? And that in its own time will come out, right? Meticulous work people are doing because this girl inflamed the hearts of so many around the world, right? So stay safe, be kind to each other, right? Be kind to each other, and let's be supportive of the call for justice for Adriana Younge. I want to remind you, the family of Adriana have always, from the very beginning, called for peace, right? They call for peace. They don't want all this looting and stuff around the country. When her mother went and put herself in the middle of the road and they started burning tire in the morning, it's because there was no success. It's over 20 hours or close to that they're waiting there, nothing on their daughter, just that she got abducted. She put herself in the road and threw herself down. What would you do in desperation? But they're not the people behind all the looting around the country. The real intellectual authors or agents of that, as the VP said, must be brought to account. It starts with finding those people that did this acid attack. Where are they? Let them be brought to justice. Publish the footage of them, where they went, where they were going, so the nation can assist in bringing them to justice. Do it, right? So, justice for Adriana Younge. Love you guys. Have a beautiful Sunday.